If you check the NPDs at the end of each year, there's guaranteed to be a sports title there. Despite little to no new features, these games just keep selling. From Madden to FIFA, millions of people play just these games every year. While we're not avid sports fans, there are experiences out there so that people like us can still have a good time while technically still playing a sport. This season on Does It Hold Up, we're playing some wacky arcadey sports games. NFL Blitz is one of those video game franchises that just about everybody is familiar with. Picking your favorite NFL team and playing a faster, more aggressive version of Madden was a fun alternative and appealed to those not a fan of Sims. Launching first as an arcade game, the series began to grow in popularity until EA's acquisition of the NFL license left Midway unable to continue the series as we knew it. Today, we take a look at the first Blitz game not using the NFL license, Blitz the League.
It's halftime!
The NFL Blitz series was created by Midway Games and headed by lead artist Sal DeVita and lead programmer Mark Termel. After initial talks with the NFL to use the license, the league paid little to no attention to the game's development, assuming it was just another football game. However, once the NFL caught a glimpse of a game in the original 1997 arcade game, they decided that they could not be associated with it due to its graphic violence, and even offered to refund Midway's money that they used to buy the license. Midway decided that they needed the NFL's endorsement for this game to be a success, so they toned it down, reducing the late hits and other violence. The game was a hit. Gamers loved the fast pace of the gameplay, and the fact that the game had no penalties meant that intense sports action was imminent. Soon after, the game came to consoles. GameSpot called the N64 port the best football game ever made. It even received a port for the Game Boy Color, which was not received as well as the others. Naturally, with its success, Midway released a sequel every single year until 2003. Work began on Blitz the League that same year. When developers took a year off to focus on the game, gamers thought that 2003's Blitz Pro would be the last Blitz game, due to EA's acquisition of the NFL license in 2004. Since then, EA pays the NFL $50 million per year, in addition to $2 million just to John Madden for the use of his name. While this may seem like a lot, EA reportedly makes over $200 million in sales revenue from the franchise per year. When the game was announced in 2004, the original title was Blitz Playmakers. Midway had hired a writer from the ESPN TV show Playmakers to work on the game. This title was changed as the game had no official affiliation to the show, and they believed that the title would be confusing to players and fans. The game features 18 fictional teams, with teams being inspired by the show Playmakers obviously, and 1999 sports film Any Given Sunday. Without the NFL license, Blitz could bring back more intense violence than ever before, and was the first professional football video game to receive the rating of M for mature. It was even refused classification in Australia because of the way it encourages the use of steroids on players. Blitz the League was released on October 17, 2005 on the PS2 and Xbox, with ports for the Xbox 360 and PSP coming in 2006. A Wii port was also in development, and was planned to be a launch title for the console. However, this version was delayed and eventually cancelled. It received generally positive reviews, and currently sits at a 76 out of 100 on Metacritic. A sequel titled Blitz the League 2 was released in 2008 for the PS3 and Xbox 360. The game added 4 new teams and parodied real-life NFL scandals. Unfortunately, Midway filed for bankruptcy in 2009, and who else but EA picked up the Blitz name. A new NFL Blitz game was released in 2012 for the PlayStation Network and Xbox Live Arcade. Late hits and other features were removed even farther due to requests from the NFL.
It's halftime!
Surprisingly, Blitz the League features a full campaign mode with a somewhat in-depth story. You'll find yourself creating a brand new team and rising the ranks to eventually compete in the league championship. When you begin the campaign, after picking your team's aesthetic and location, you'll select a new coach, offensive and defensive coordinator, a rookie offensive player, veteran defensive player, and a team doctor. The story features just about every trope you can think of from sports movies. It has everything from dirty dealings to steroids, prostitutes, gambling, a love triangle, and many, many more. The story is not very good, and does not compel you to finish the game by any means. While we do applaud its inclusion, we found that if more care was put into it, that it could have really been something special. When playing older games with a realistic style, typically they don't hold up. But the graphics don't look bad here. While nothing special, you feel every single injury, and we never found ourselves down on the graphics. Character models can look a little funky in the cutscenes, but other than that, there's not much bad to be said here. This game features a full licensed soundtrack, and it's fine. You'll find yourself hearing the same edgy early 2000s alternative rock and rap songs before you know it. The soundtrack doesn't have any particularly good songs, which can lead to fatigue very early on. The voice work in the campaign is great. While not extremely high quality, the performances fit the tone of the game and never feel cringier than any of the other aspects. However, the commentary during the game gets very old quickly.
Ooh, wow. Oh, he lost about 5 years off his life with that hit.
While some jokes do hit the first time you hear them, there's such a small amount of content here that even during our second game we heard repeat bits. While this is a problem with all sports games and not just Blitz, it's the joking tone and nature that makes this problem worse, as jokes that didn't hit the first time certainly don't hit the 21st.
They paying you to leave those holes open?
The same problem goes for the game's celebrations and in-game cutscenes.
Going for the front page. Yeah. Here it is, baby.
These are cool at first, but after hearing the same cringy lines so many times, we went into the options and turned them off.
It's halftime.
The gameplay in Blitz the League features a more realistic simulation than previous Blitz titles, while simultaneously being more violent. The gameplay has been tightened up significantly while still being extremely fast-paced. First downs take 30 yards, not 10. There are 8 players on the field to the standard 10, and there are no referees in the game, letting pass interference and dirty hits become the best strategies. The best way to defend against the game's AI is to just tackle the receiver before the ball gets there, committing pass interference. The game still feels more similar to Madden than previous games in the Blitz series. This choice seems deliberate, however, with Midway fully intending to compete with the franchise after EA bought the NFL license. But the game's main gimmick is the clash system. Upon completing a pass, sacking the quarterback, or pretty much any positive play on offense or defense, the player's clash meter will rise. When it's full, you can do a number of extremely useful things during the game. You can slow down time to get past players, and you can also give dirty hits to injure those players, among other things. When a player is injured using a dirty hit, a brutal cutscene plays showing the bones breaking or the tendons rupturing. You are then given the choice to juice the player and inject him with steroids to get him back into the game, upping the risk for further injury, or treat him properly, which will have the player out recovering anywhere from a quarter to multiple games. Some injuries, however, are so serious that juicing them won't work. If too many hits happen throughout the game, a fight will occur with all players participating. Whoever hits the most players of the opposite team will win the fight, filling their clash meter. The campaign mode will have you going through each division, earning a certain number of wins to advance. You can both train your players and give them steroids to increase their stats, costing in-game money which can be earned by winning games and gambling. Before every game, you'll receive an option to bet on it. You can even throw the game if you need more money, just like in real life. You can also purchase new equipment, increasing stats for your team as a whole. On occasion, you'll be given the option to hire prostitutes to weaken the other team before a game as well. Each time you face a new team in the campaign, you'll be shown a cutscene detailing the team and their star player. These are usually very interesting and helpful, and are a nice addition. Other than that, this is just your usual franchise mode just like in Madden. The only difference here is that there's cutscenes. But that leads to the game's biggest problem, the difficulty. Once you get to a certain point in the campaign, the AI just becomes nearly unbeatable. Changing the difficulty doesn't help, and grinding for money can only be done through gambling. Even when starting the game off great, being up by multiple touchdowns, later in the game the opposing team just destroys you. This is due to rubber banding, which is a feature in most sports games. The difficulty dynamically increases as the player gets better, and while this isn't a problem in most games, it's absolutely out of control here.
It's halftime.
Blitz the League is an edgy reboot of a 90s arcade classic. However, it lost any of the charm the series had when it decided to compete with Madden. Most of the stuff here is early 2000s trying to be cool type of humor, with over-the-top swearing, humor, and violence that really serves no purpose. The football mechanics are tight, and the dirty hits and other gimmicks are fun for a while. But when the AI begins to consistently kick your ass, it makes you just want to play Madden. Because regardless of whether it is or not, at least Madden feels fair. The stories seem to be this game's only saving grace, but when it just goes down the list of tropes in sports movies, you'll lose your interest very quickly. Blitz the League doesn't hold up. If you want arcadey football, play an earlier Blitz game. But if you want tight football, play Madden. This game sits in an awkward position between the two, and by doing so, doesn't appeal to anyone.
Wow!